Good morning, Dave Knight here at 123daytrade.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Today was Monday, October 15th, 2018. Um, Here's a fact for you. It's not something I'm proud of, but it is the fact. Since May of, since my last time being funded, I have been I've had 10 resets. This will actually be my 10th reset. I had to reset today again. Not something I'm very proud of. It's something that I am. So if you figure that out, plus the monthly fees, I'm underwater. Definitely underwater. But the other side of this is if I would have had a real futures account, God knows what my negative balance would be. So I'm trying to make it a job. I'm trying to make it a career, but it is being elusive right now. And what I wrote down, I guess I'll read my notes right now, and then we'll talk about my trading day and what I could have done better. So I wrote down CLDT, which that stands for crude oil. CL being crude oil, DT being day trading. My mind goes round and around on how best to approach a trade, when to place it, when to move to break even, how far the stop should be on the trade, when to take profits, how many contracts to trade. Why is it the older I get, the more it seems I don't understand anything about trading? 8 a.m. CST open trade, lost 10 ticks. Now wait for volume to show up in the trading session. Be smart. I was not smart after the first trade. I took on 10 trades. My open trade was 71.73 and it eventually went down 3p to 70.95. So what was there any lesson that I could have learned from today? High volatility. We're in high volatility, at least high volatility compared to where we normally are. Volatility measurement that I had today is 2.11, which risk translates out to 21.1. So it's above 20. So so it's above that 2.0 mark. So that is the double-edged sword of trading right now. On one side, I know that the market's going to reward a 3p move if I get the correct movement and I catch the right trade. Now, for instance, what I'm going to say right now, when we're in lower volatility, we're in 1.0, 1.5, you name it. I'm okay with having a stop of like 15 ticks or 10 ticks or 11 ticks and seeing if it hits 1p to 1r. What I'm not okay, what I'm not comfortable with right now is having a 21 tick stop. And what I measured from where I was trailing 21 behind today. My opening trade got knocked out at I forget. I got in at 71.73 and it went down for a while and then it came back up, and that range of movement was 23 ticks, I think it was 23, 24 ticks from the low to that high. If woulda, shoulda, coulda, I would have kept my stop on the 8 a.m. CST trade that I like to put on if I would have just left it alone. In other words, if I just would have said, all right, here we are. It's either got to go 1R against me or 1P for me before I do anything. If I would follow that kind of advice, now what would have been happen? Right now, what would have happened? Well, I would have been able to follow behind that, and most likely I would have been able to get out of the trade at 71.06 after it ran 70.96 today, 70.95. Now, I don't like to be on a 5 on my exit, so 71.06 would have been my exit, and that would have been worth about 66, 67 ticks overall on one trade, just trailing behind it. So I think I'm in the most frustrated part of my trading career that I've ever been in. And that is taken into account all the many years that I have been able to get defunded inside Top Step Trader and refining my trading rules and refining how I approach trades. Hindsight's always correct, right? And we know that. If I would have trailed 1p behind the trade, so for instance, if I would have waited for 71.47 to hit, then moved to break even, I would have been fine. If I would have waited for 71.21 to hit and then moved to 71.47, I would have been fine. And then it would have went to 70.95, and then I get very aggressive on my stop movement because I know that anytime I can get 3p or very close to it, it's a winning good trade. The market is rewarding 3p movement right now. And I am honestly not been able to capture enough of this. Every day that I look at trading, what my ultimate goal right now with this kind of volatility is to hit that 3p, 4p movement. 3p would have been 77. If it would have kept on rolling down, 103 would have been 4. When I initially set up my trades today, I was looking for, well, it would have been a long move, but the GAN signal coming down was 70.56. That would be the magic number, golden ratio number today. It would have been 70.56 on the down and 73.15 on the up. Now, me taking on 10 trades just tells me that one, I'm taking on too many trades, right? So, and I'm frustrated. I can tell you that is probably the biggest handicap I got right now, is that my frustration is just at a boiling point right now. To not have been able to even approach the $2,000 mark in the combine right now is just pissing me off. Honest to God, I'm about, I am really close to grabbing a nail and see if I can bite through it with my teeth and break a few of them. So, or go outside to the brick wall of the house and bang my head off of it a couple times. Well, what can I do to improve and be better? I've got to be willing to accept the 1R loss. That if a market moves against me, so I've got to be able to be willing to re-accept 1R versus 1P before I do anything. So the market's got to go a 1P move, or it's got to go 1R against me after I enter that first initial trade. And it's a lot easier to take it when, my opening trade loss was like 10 ticks today. And then I think I cut my loss to like 6 ticks on the second trade. And then the next thing you know, old Jeb's a millionaire. That's the next thing you know, I was at 10 trades, all trading one contract at a time, and getting blocked at the 50 tick. 'Cause obviously, there comes a point in my trading where I just say WTF. I say, especially on the day one of a combine, it's like I am trying to get 60, 70. I'm looking for that 3P movement, right? I'm looking for the 77, 67 tick move in this case today to have on that first day. the first I made some screenshots. I took some screenshots, and I plan on putting a blog post together once I feel like doing it today. If I would have waited for that movement, and just trailed behind after the first initial 1000 volume bar comes in after we run the 1P mark at 71.47. Basically, we went down through pivot, and then we saw the first high volume bar on the red side that could, signify that the down movement is getting close to being over. Now it goes from 71.47 and it continues to move down to a low of hold on. Goes down to 70.85. Now we're trading back at pivot and above it. So micromanagement. I am micromanaging my trades right now to the detriment of being able to sustain myself inside a trade. I've tried the trailing stop. So I was trailing 21 ticks behind the movement today, and my opening trade, as it went down, it came back up 21 and actually crested at 24 ticks, and then it went to its initial profit target. I have talked in the past about waiting for that first wave, the retracement wave, to come into the trade before moving to any closer in the movement, or but at the time of trade, I was thinking to myself, well, let's just trail 21 ticks behind, because this is what I determined that I wanted to do. I wanted to trail the stop, and I wanted to trail it at max 1R today. So that's what I told myself when I first came in. So even if that would have hit me, after that, I should have stayed in the sidelines until it was a failure bar on the red side after that bar showed up. And then I would have been able to take from roughly 47 on down to 70.95 and take into account a 3P move from the open entry, and even taking that into account, would have been able to pull out, say, 2P, or in this case, take out 51 ticks or so. Losing 10 could have been a 41 tick day. So there was ways of handling the trade, is what I'm getting at, but I didn't handle it correctly. And I don't know if I'm just not smart enough, like I talked about in the past. And I'm not trying to beat myself up. It's just me telling you how I am redefining how to trade. It's like I have to relearn how to trade high volatility all over again. Why is it like Groundhog Day right now? And that's going to be, I guess, the video right now. What I'm talking about is, why is day trading like Groundhog Day? How I feel like was the actor that was the Groundhog Day? Well, you know who he is. The movie. You have that the insurance salesman who comes out, and that's a doozy when you walk into that water when he's trying to get away from him. And it takes until he actually, accepts his fate, in a sense, before he can move on to see the next day. I feel like I'm in Groundhog Day right now. Honest to God, it's like the next stage before I'm able to move to the next stage of my trading career. So it's a frustrating period of time right now. If you look back at May, last time funded, you got June, July, August, September. Now I'm in October. So I'm working in my 5th month without being into funded right now. And like I said, and the monthly fee, so 150 in May, June, July, August, September, October, plus 10 resets. I mean, you guys can figure out and put that what that is. So, I mean, that sounds like, how many is that? It's 150 by, it's a bunch of money, right? It's like 1800, something like that. I don't know the exact number. I'm sure you'll tell me what it is. My haters will tell me what that number is. Um, but I'm going to tell you this right now, that that number is better than if I would have been out. At minimum 500 by 10 is $5,000 minimum. Say I failed, some of these I failed positive, some I failed negative, but on the overall, let's just say that every one of them was down 500. So 500 by 9 right now, because this is my 10th, I would be at minimum most likely down 5,000, if not greater, in the futures account right now. So even taking into account some of the big winning days and all the other crap that's going on, most likely trading one contract, I'm not even a scratch trader right now. So I got to accept where I am in my trading right now. Where I am in my trading is confused. You know, I wrote down some of the questions, and now, you know, I feel like I've been back to that chalkboard or the blackboard or the blue board or wherever the hell, the whiteboard over here, but geez, whatever the hell it is. I've been at this whiteboard so often writing so many things on it that I've erased it. I wrote again, I've erased it again, I wrote some stuff on it again. And now I've got a bunch of stuff on there that I like. A blue, I said I kind of like. Green, it's like, well, maybe that works. Red's like, no, this doesn't work. So I'm using like a color scheme on it. So it's close. I think that there's a lot of wisdom in the saying that it's always darkest before the dawn. Um, and I believe that's where I am right now. You know, the light is finally starting to break on the east horizon, and the sun is finally starting to break, just a little bit, not much, but it's finally starting to get there. This has been one of the darkest periods of my trading career right now. And I've had some dark periods, but this is one of the darkest, because what I can see is how I could have done better, right? Where I could have improved upon, and then still get caught in doing things and running into the WTF mentality that I get myself into, where I know that I'm best at is that 3 to 5 trade range in any given day. And what I'm best at is getting into a trade, and for lack of a better way of putting it, is just get in it, set it, forget about it, and see what happens. Even running a 1R versus a 3P. Leave the 1R stop on, and it's either going to go 3P for me or 1R against me. There are days that I can tell you that the market's going to go 1P and come all the way back to break even, especially when the volatility measurement comes in. So I guess what I'm getting at is there's got to be different ways of how you approach the market. You know, when low volatility is, you can get away with that 10 tick stop, and you can maybe even at that point, if I can only trade one right now at this volatility measurement, maybe the trick is to trade 2 when you got 10 on the volatility measurement. So you got 1.0 on the ADR instead of 2.0 on the ADR. So I double the pleasure, right? Double mint gum. I double the entry point based upon where the ADR is. Where we're at right now at the 2.0 mark, 2.1, risking 21 ticks, well, I can tell you about when I've got like 10 ticks or 11 ticks risk, I can put a whole heck of a lot more trades in there, 3, 4 losers, and still come out smelling like a rose on one that would go my way. That's the advantage of low volatility. The disadvantage of low volatility is that it can grind you. The advantage of high volatility is you have movement that is greater than 50 ticks in any given day, or 20 ticks, or 25 ticks, or 30 ticks. You get days where you can get 100 ticks in movement when you get to a high volatility day. You look at the high versus the low and look at the range of movement. If you catch those, and all of a sudden you say, well, this is the range for today. Well, the range for this day, 2.1, pretty much translates out to roughly 210 ticks over 9 trading days that the market has been fluctuating, $2.10 roughly. So that range of movement, if you could catch $1 inside that, or 100 ticks, it's there. The movement's there for you. It's a matter of how do you catch, where do you find that entry point, where do you find value to get involved in the trade, and once you get involved in it, don't. I guess the point is, don't get so quick to move to break even and trailing stop's not working for me. And I want to trail the stop because I don't want to take a 21 tick hit or a 22 tick hit. That's the biggest issue I got right now, is I'm looking at the ADR and I'm thinking, damn it, if I have 2 trades that move against me, I'm at 42 ticks, 44 ticks off of 2 trades. Damn it, I've already lost 1/3 of this, that, and the other. Then I go and have 10 ticks or 10 trades and I get blocked. So there is no advantage. So the advantage that I had, I've given it to the market because I continue to trade into a bad situation. In other words, the best way that my dad used to say when I'd ask him for things sometimes, why should I give you good money for bad money? You're not doing what I believe is the best way of going at it. So chasing, why would I give you good money when, kind of, how's that, good money versus bad money? Y'all know the age-old thing. So, why make an investment in something that is not paying off? And right now, my trading, honest to God, it's not paying off. So at some point, if I can't figure it out, I've got to cut it and let go and regroup and take time off or whatever I got to do, or just walk away from this altogether. Wash my hands and say, you know what, day trading has been fun, but it's just not for me. And I'm getting pretty close to that point that I've got to, I'm gonna, and I don't want to walk away. This is something that I want to figure out. I like being at home. I like, sometimes, even though the boredom of day trading, I mean, what's the alternative right now? I am a 50-plus-year-old man. Who in their right mind is going to hire me on other than a minimum wage job like at a Walmart right now? Even though I have a degree in accounting, who's going to really hire this person on? The only and I don't believe insurance is something. I mean, yeah, I get paid insurance, and yeah, I sell some stuff every so often, and it pays the bills and whatnot, but I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. I mean, selling insurance to seniors is worse than pulling teeth out of your own mouth, because these the people that I am selling to sometimes don't have two pennies to rub together. So, well, more times than not, they don't have two pennies to rub together. So your retention rate after 1 year is about 20%. So, so for every 10 cases I write, I hold on to two, maybe three, 25%. So I hold, and so most of these, and I don't want to call them deadbeats. They're not really deadbeats. They just got a fixed income and life happens, and they've worked hard for their money. And, and I mean, personally, I've got enough life insurance to bury me and to get my, and allow my family to live for a year or two without me being around anymore. But these people that I go, they don't have enough money to even, cremate themselves, let alone have any money in their savings accounts. So I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy that, and I haven't been active. Usually I work very hard in the summertime, which I did, and now in the fall I kind of relax in that sense. This has always been historically my trading period of time between October to the end of the year, and then January into May to June. So I'm in my window of opportunity that I like to be at. My birthday comes up on March 10th. I'll be 52 years old. At some point you got to cut. You got to cut and run. And I don't want to give up as a day trader. I hate losing, and that's probably the biggest component that I have right now that keeps me coming back, because I see how close I really am. And most of my losing days go back to micromanagement, where I micromanage that initial trade or the second trade or the third trade, and it turns into a bigger losing day, getting blocked out of the account, because I honestly get to a point where I just say, what the fuck? And excuse me, I think that's the first time I swore in a while. But I get to the point where I just say, screw it. All balls ahead, man. And I can't stop myself at that point. And, if I was a casino, I would, that would be where I would smack the Mac and hit the ATM and say, fuck you, I'm going to beat you, casino. And that's a bad mentality to have as a trader. Where am I best? Where I am best is where I'm in control, right? Like everyone. When you're in control of your emotions, when you're in control of your physical self, when you're in control of the mental makeup that's up in here, when you're not letting the demon out, I let the demon out of the box is what I do. I go, it's like one extreme or the other. The demon's out of the box and praying to God, don't let this happen to me, so that either one of these extremes is not a good place to be, right? This is not, either one of those two extremes is not a good place to be. Right there, where you're in control and being able to walk away from bad trading days that there are going to be days that you're going to lose close to max daily loss at Top Step Trader. Be willing to accept those days. Be willing to move on to the next trading day, but take best trade opportunities that you can. Yes, I've got a pretty good trading strategy overall. The 8 a.m. trade on a Monday or a Friday. CL pitch strategy on inventory day. high volatility when you're moving in the direction of either when BBV shows up, high volume bar, and then waiting for, trying to pick the top off and then coming down off of that. The RBV stopping volume or Wyckoff stopping volume. There, the Ziggy Man that I like to look at when you see the head and shoulders. There's a bunch of things that I do really, really well. But where I struggle the most are the days like today where I get stopped out at minus 10, minus 11, whatever it was on that initial trade. And then it goes my way. And I look at it like, man, what, I'd rather get beat 21 ticks than watch that market go the direction that I believe the trade was going to go anyway. And then find yourself trying to catch it and getting stopped 10 ticks at a pop, 5 ticks here, getting 2 on this one, and just trying your best to get in position at a trade, and it just kicks your ass. I'm trying to stay positive, but you got to recognize where your shortcomings and faults are. And I know my shortcomings. I know my faults. I've learned enough about myself that I could write a book. In fact, I've got, what am I on right now? As far as volumes of these little black leather books that I talk about occasionally. This is 28. 28 of these little black books that I've been writing in. I don't remember the day I started, but let's just assume it's been since I started Knight Capital Management in 2007, November of 2007, probably before that. It's the day that I learned from Jim Rohn when he was living about writing in a journal your thoughts. And I write all kinds of stuff in here. I write stuff about to my boys. I write, some insurance things that I had in the past, real estate things that I thought of, but everything, Bible verses that I really like, quotes that I really like. If I can find a couple quotes that I wrote since I started this one. I started this book on September 28th, 2018, and I like to start it out with a quote. Every one of my journals, I like to start out with a quote. So if I would look back at the last journal, we'll go over that. But September 28th was when this book started, and I wrote down, diligence is the mother of good luck, and that was Ben Franklin. So, and then I wrote down Ben Franklin's 3 principles of success. Big achievements come one step at a time, one day at a time. 2, you have the power to mold your life. You can make it whatever you want. You can shape it and reshape it. 3, success is measured through pleasure. Key principle, you got to be happy along the way, which I am. I'm fairly happy. You got to learn to give yourself a pat on the back. You need to tell yourself, I'm proud of me today. You got to learn to enjoy the process. Jim Rohn. So that was September 28th, 2018. And let's see what I wrote down on when I opened up and started this book. Claude Whitaker, I wrote, and I was working on insurance at the January 20th, 2018. So I started this book on my dad's 75th birthday. So I waited to January 20th to start volume 27. And right now, what I wrote in the very beginning, it says, Dad's birthday today. He would have been 75 years young today. I loved him. but he had a hard time saying those words back to me. I am done trying to live to his standard. I will live life on my own terms from now on. So this was like, he's been dead 14 years now, I think, is what my father's been passed away. And he was successful and done well, but I still hear him in my head. But the quote that I wrote, let's see, was Claude Whitaker on sales prospecting. This is when I was working in insurance doing my seminar marketing in the winter. Have you ever read "It isn't what you say, it's how you say it"? Wrong. It isn't what you say or how you say it, it's who you say it to. So I've been writing quotes in my books all along the way. So I mean, I can flip through this and find another quote probably. And so for instance, on April 18th, 2018, I wrote, "And when the great shepherd appears, you will receive a crown of never-ending glory and honor." And I wrote, well, I flipped to, "Today I lost my funded trading account due to a rule that TST has in place. It's tough to dig out of a hole. The rule was concerning max drawdown on the trading account and two separate ways they apply it between the funded and the combine. With max daily loss figuring in, you have the room to go or be low and the other you don't, which in essence means you don't really have 1500 drawdown based on a normal trading day of minus 30 ticks to 50 ticks or so. What this really means in actuality, you have 2 full days close to 500 and the other is much less to save the account from the abyss." So that's when I kind of learned, and that goes back to that 666 account, right? April 18th, 2018. Funny how you turn to stuff and you just all of a sudden you remember that day, right? It's like, I remember that day that I lost my funded account. That was the day that I lost my funded account. April 18th, 2018. I don't think I've been back to funded since. So I took that time off until May 1st. After so I took April 19th to the end of the month off. And then I came back in May, on May 1st. And I started at it again. See what I wrote down on May 1st. Started working on zone of control. So I wrote down on May 3rd, 2018, "Trading is hard work. It requires discipline, patience, flexibility, an open mind, and a commitment to learning every day. Sigmund Freud said that deep down inside everyone has a secret death wish. It's the same for everyone. Everyone deep down inside has a financial death wish. The difference between winners and losers is how well they control it." That's from Waxy. Rule the frickin' markets. I remember this now. I was reading that book in May. "Some days it's tempting to think there's some kind of abnormal psychology involved, some kind of mass delusion or psychosis, driven greed and fear." That quote right there is that quote right there is from Rule the Frickin' Markets from Waxy. Waxie. He's no longer trades, but he was somebody that I got a course from back in the day when I was looking at stock trading. Hey. So be wise, and then I wrote down, and I left this. My wife actually reads my journals every so often, and she put this arrow that you see right there is the day that she marked for me. So let's read what she read this, and then she put this. She'll do this every so often. She'll put an arrow or a piece of paper in my book and say, "Hey, this is what you need to be doing." So at this point, I was at 3871 in my account, and I wrote down. Actually, I tell you what, let's May 15th, 2018. I'm at 31380.2. I believe help my unbelief. I believe help my unbelief. In other words, I was thinking about Mark 9:23, belief versus unbelief in God. Please stop, allow me to win and move on now. I am worthy. And let's see, you don't really need to know what the shorts or whatever. Let's get into the emotion side of it. One trade at a time, one good and true signal at a time is the best way to trade the market. I have pressed too hard and paid for it. Still doing the same damn thing. If I would have held my short at 83, let's see, by overthinking and overmanaging the short position today, I caught myself from moving forward in the combine today. Man, I'm like preaching to the frickin' choir again. This is my today. Bottom line, I am sabotaging my trades by moving too quick to break even on the short trade and worrying too much about losing. Holy shit, here I go again. I swear I can't remember what I write. By worry, I am creating the losing because I am being overly cautious on a good trade that I am winning today. The market will show the way more times than not if I will allow it to do it. If I will allow the market to do so. This is a trading day I must learn from and stop from doing again. Well, I did it again. 32,000 is just another number. Get over it. There will be other numbers to think about if I don't allow myself the freedom to take on the trade and let it run its course. My God. I should read this every day. My wife is so smart. She is so she's got so much common sense. I am, if there's things smaller than a dwarf, I'm that when it comes to common sense, I think. Overmanaging and overthinking the market will not work in trading. You are better than this. God is not listening to you. God is not listening to your prayers when you are in a trade. What I need to be more diligent is asking God to trade to the best of my ability each day, to utilize the wisdom and knowledge I have in my head and trade from that standpoint. If I pray for avoidance before I commence trading, this is a better approach to God than hoping He will grant a wish. God is not a God of wishes and hopes. He is the great I am. If I want to succeed in trading, then it's time to put childish superstitious things like prayer and trade away. God has never listened to me when I am desperate and stink for a win. So be wise and knowing. Pray before you start. Do the best of your ability. Will allow and let the pieces fall where they may from now on. By the way, Waxy's book, his name is Michael Parnas. Your inner knucklehead wants you to lose money. Sigmund Freud said deep down inside everyone has a secret death wish. Everyone deep down inside has a financial death wish. The difference between winners and losers is how well they, you and me, control it. So, I guess the financial death wish is not allowing the market enough room to breathe. I wrote about it back in May, and here I am, October. May 15th, I think that was. Now we're in October 15th. So, literally, June 15th, July 15th, August 15th, September 15th, October 15th. And if each day has 30 days in it, that's 150 days, which we know it has more and less, but let's just say it's 150 days later. And I'm still doing the same stupid, dumb thing. Not listening to what I should be doing, and I'm listening to the inner knucklehead. The inner knucklehead is really effing me up right now. It's time to stop listening to the inner knucklehead. Maybe this is the day that I actually, finally, the pain is so great at this point that I make a change. So I'm going to make a change. The change is either by 52, March 10th, I'm back in funded and doing fine, or I'm moving on and doing something else with my life. I have a deadline. It is what it is at this point. God bless. Take care. I'll see you next video I put together. Bye for now.